Is anyone speaking?
Momentarily. We were muted.
Thank you.
It's okay.
Good evening. The meeting of the Beaufort County Board of Education Academics Committee, January 31, 2024, 5:00 p.m. here at the District Educational Services Center, Conference Room E, remote hybrid conferencing meeting. This meeting will be streamlined, live streamed on the school board's YouTube channel. https://www.youtube.com/Beaufort County School Board /streams. Requests for public comments participation will be accepted between the hours of 3 p.m. and 3:30 p.m. on January 31, 2024. By sending an email with your name, phone number, and topic to robin.cushionberry@beaufort.k12.sc.us. You will receive a phone call during public comments where you will be able to speak and address the committee for a maximum of 3 minutes on issues within the committee's domain. The forum will be limited to 15 minutes. Mission: the Beaufort County School District, through a personalized learning approach, will prepare graduates who compete and succeed in an ever-changing global society and career marketplace. The members of this committee are Chloe Gordon, the chair, Angela Middleton, and Mr. William Smith. We're now called to order at 5:00 p.m. Would you please stand for the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America,
and to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Be seated. I need an approval of the agenda.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Middleton. Ms. Cushenberry, do we have any public comments?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. I also need approval of the November 28th, 23 committee meeting.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Did you want to vote on it? Okay, can we get a vote on the November 28th, 23 committee meeting? William?
I was abstaining because I was on the committee at the time.
Okay.
Aye.
Aye. Here we have Dr. Stratus and her team here with us today. And we'll be talking about the English Language Arts K through 12 textbook adoption the IS-9 dual enrollment administration regulation, dual enrollment, programmatic updates, which includes expanded dual enrollment options at Hilton Head High School, and expanded dual enrollment partnership with Technical College of the Low Country. We'll also discuss the table calendar presentation. It's called Bang the Table.
Yes, that's an application that is used, yes, ma'am.
Bring the table calendar presentation and then discussion of future topics.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And if I could take a moment just to share with those who are here in the room with us today. I have Melissa Murray, Director of Elementary Literacy, actually K-12. I have Karen McKenzie, Director of Teaching and Learning Secondary. I have Karen Gilbert, Director for Career Technical Education. And as well joining us this evening is LaTasha Middleton, our Director for School Counseling. And it's critical that LaTasha has joined us because she has been part of some of these initiatives that you will hear a little more later on in today's presentation. Our first presentation focuses upon English Language Arts K-12 textbook adoption. I'd like to bring to your attention that the last textbook adoption for English Language Arts for elementary was in 2012. The last for secondary, which would be grades 6 through 12, was in 2014. With that, I want to take the opportunity to turn the floor over to our Director of Literacy, Mrs. Murray.
Good evening. Thank you so much for the opportunity to bring forward the 2024-2025 textbook selections from our educators K-12. I have two documents for you. One is an executive summary and the other is a PowerPoint. As I share, I will reference both, but they align in messaging. I need to start by saying that the 2024-2025 school year also brings full implementation of the 2023 ELA standards. This is significant to the work we did to prepare and select textbooks to bring forward for your approval. I referenced the standards law at the top of the executive summary. The textbook selection is a 6-year cycle funded by the South Carolina Department of Education. The Department of Education released a list of approved choices on December 12, 2023. Once approved, our schools and district staff can begin to prepare for the transition. Go to the next slide, please. Beaufort County School District Admin Rule IS 36 states that the Board of Education has final approval of the recommendations from the Committee of Educators. This section of the admin rule is located on your executive summary. On the slide, you will also see some of the processes to get us to this point, such as the entire list of improved instructional materials was shared with all schools. Samples from each publisher was requested for each school, and we had a strategic timeline to facilitate this adoption process. For the 2024-2025 school year, ELA K-5, ELA 6 through 8, and ELA 9th through 12th grades have been identified by the South Carolina Department of Education as adopting new textbooks. The state opened the textbook selection for the community feedback prior to the list being shared with our schools and educators. Beaufort County School District also sent out notification of the community review window. To prepare and make the best possible choice of textbooks, we had a series of professional learning opportunities. Your executive summary has the dates. We had 8 sessions focused on standards and 7 focused on textbooks. 5 of those sessions was an overlap of both. All schools participated in the process. For textbooks specifically, we came together with representation from schools to hear from the textbook companies, but we had the lens of our standards to make our selection based on the extensive work done prior. Across the 2 days of textbook professional learning, we had over 120 educators representing our schools come together and then take back all they learned to their colleagues. Each teacher who teaches the course and support staff that also uses the materials were provided with an opportunity to assess the materials and vote for their selection. We had 598 votes for the K-12. Based on these votes, I'm here to request for your approval for the majority selections at each grade level range. Kindergarten through 5th grade had 5 state-approved options, and Houghton Mifflin Harcourt Publishing was selected by our educators with 40% of the votes. Middle school had 3 state-approved options, and Savas Learning Company, English Language Arts 6 through 8, was selected by our educators with 53% of the votes. And high school also had 3 state-approved options, with Savas Learning Company, English Language Arts South Carolina, selected by our educators with 47% of the votes. Do you have any questions for me?
Madam Chair,
Go ahead, please.
this is very fascinating to me. If it's appropriate and possible, if I could just have copies of those 3 books that I could sort of peruse through them for my own benefit and learning, and to enable me to be more supportive. I'm supportive now, but to learn more about, what the kids are learning. I would appreciate that. Thank you.
We do have samples of all the textbooks located at the district office in all of our schools. So I'd be happy to work with Robin to get them to a place where you can see them.
Did you hear that, Mr. Dallas?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much.
I do have a question. You said that at some junction, I guess you got for everyone and they made a vote, and that's how you got the 40%.
Yes.
And 47%, 35%, 53%. Can you tell me what was that process?
Yes, sir. So it's outlined a little bit more detail on the executive summary, but we hosted a series of meetings, first to focus in on the standards, to make sure that we were selecting the textbook through that lens, because this is the first time in our state that we have adopted the standards first and then a new textbook series. Then on January 11th, we all came together to do a final look at the standards and the shifts in the standards. And we had school teams represented at this district meeting with just us. Then January 12th was a meeting for just secondary schools, and each school sent a team to view the each textbook company presented to us in a designated amount of time, just like a textbook caravan happens at the State Department. And then January 16th was the time where this representatives from elementary schools were able to come together. And in total, between the 2 meetings on January 12th and January 16th, we had 120 educators come to the office to view them face to face. And then we asked all of those educators to go back to their schools, work with their colleagues, and share the textbooks. Meanwhile, all of the textbook options are at the school sites for them to view and look at on their own, and then start to discuss and bring it back to the schools. And then we actually allowed individualized votes from every single teacher. So anyone who would like to vote was able to submit votes to us.
Every school represented.
Yes,
But you made note of that.
yes, I have the chart.
But so basically, y'all had a tally system to tally these votes up. Was there remote vote, or how was the vote done?
Yes, they were collected electronically. So the teachers submitted and signed electronically.
But we don't know who voted for whom, so we're not tagging
Okay, no, I definitely. Yeah, I would expect you to do that. I just want to make sure that there was an action taking place to lead us up to here, and not saying that there wasn't. I just want to understand. So when I'm asking a question, then I can come out my tongue. I can talk confidently, know what I'm talking about.
We had 80% of the English language arts teachers respond to which was for survey practice or polling, because technically they're polling and not voting. That result, that actually comes as a result of the board's recommendation, but 80% was a significant return on that survey. Yeah, which was.
Yeah, it is, because even in operations committee, when we poll the principles about the buildings, and it's hard to get 100%. So so 80% is definitely a great rate, and I commend you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
We really wanted the teachers to feel that this was their voice
Right.
and that they all were heard.
So they do as well.
Madam Chair, do we have any other questions to be posed at this time?
I don't see any other hands up. We can go forward.
So if I may share, if I can may have a motion in order to bring this to the full board, because we would need a full board approval of these titles that we brought forward to each of you this afternoon.
I don't know why my stomach is.
Actually, that is what you
We're not going fast.
Now you're doing a vote, you.
Ms. Middleton, would you make the motion, please?
Absolutely, Madam Chair. I move that we bring all of the adopted materials to the full board for its approval.
Maybe a second?
And I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Thank you. It was moved in second. Any discussion? It is so approved that this will be on that about. Oh. Those in favor?
Aye.
It's all three of us. Thank you, Ms. Ryan.
Greatly appreciated, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Little ones, weren't that little one? Probably about our height now. Thank you again. And thank you, board members.
All right, now go to I'm sorry, 9, dual enrollment. Administrative regulations.
Yes, we have thank you again, Mrs. Gordon. This evening, we have Ms. McKinsey, who's gonna bring forward some updates on the Instructional Service Administrative Regulation 9. These updates are necessary in order to support some of the programmatic updates we'll be sharing with you. Ms. McKinsey, please.
Thank you, Dr. Stratus and board members. Instructional Services regularly reviews and updates the Beaufort County School District administrative regulations. It's an important process for us to ensure that the systematic focus is placed on compliance with policies and laws and regulations. This process also allows for consistency in the application of our district expectations, and implementing updates to our administrative regulations also improves communications among all of our stakeholders. Tonight, we have revisions that we would like to share with you for Administrative Regulation IS-9. And this IS-9 ensures the development and approval of appropriate curriculum. And it ensures that students have the opportunity to develop their intellectual curiosity, their critical thinking, their problem-solving abilities. And this one also ensures that our curriculum is based on South Carolina standard and it's preparing our students for state standards assessment. We have basically 3 areas, and this is the administrative regulation as well as the red line version and the clean version, if you will, for me. There are 3 areas of update. In section 2, the non-discrimination clause has been added to ensure that we have equal opportunity for all of our students. In section 3, subsection D, which you'll notice on your red line version, we've added the word ensuring, and that's in order just to really certify that we are aligning our focus back to that standards aligned curriculum and statewide assessment model. And the most significant changes you're going to see in section 5, subsection A, paragraph 3, we revise the minimum qualifications as it relates to dual enrollment programs. Previously, we've had active placer and assessment were specific requirements for eligibility. Standardized test scores like SAT and ACT are now optional for admission if other eligibility criteria have been met. Okay. So only 9th and 10th grade students who score at or above the 93rd percentile on the PSAT during their 8th grade year can be considered for dual enrollment placement at Technical College of the Lowcountry. Now, I do have to say, we're really excited about that one because we started this year providing the PSAT to all 8th grade students in Beaufort County. So that really opens up the eligibility field to every student potentially. So we're really excited about that.
And if I could build at that with Ms. Lee and Latasha correctly, it's 150 students met the cutoff for eligibility for dual enrollment at the 93rd percentile in the PSAT.
Yes.
Yes.
So that is a significant number for
That's
us. It's, we
tremendous.
have just short of 400 students. We really look at the numbers who may be eligible to just go
Yes.
for national merit scholars within the grade, all grade, secondary grade bands looking into the high school. Very close.
That's a
Yeah,
tremendous
that is-
change and
Yes,
really expands the opportunity field for our students. And the last change is in subsection A, paragraph 4, still in section 5. Students' eligibility for the USEB program has been revised from 11th and 12th grade students to include 10th through 12th grade students, as long as they're 16 years or older at the time of enrollment. So minimal changes, but still very significant ones for providing opportunities to our students.
So Madam Chair, those are the updates that we supported by the information will be here quite shortly from Ms. Gilbert as well as Ms. Middleton. Are there any questions this time for the administrative regulation?
Any questions from board members who are zooming
No, ma'am.
in?
No, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Mr. Smith?
I think I did have a question about these, go ahead, Mr. Campbell.
It's needed.
Okay. Okay, so basically there was a change in the 6. So it was. I forgot what my question was. I had a question about 7, something about 6, but as we go on, then if it comes to me, then I'll ask it. But it's the last time I look at this document, so I'm good with that right now.
Ms. McKenzie, looking at item 6 under active placer, we were one of the only school districts still utilizing that assessment, am I correct?
That is correct, and acuplacer has kind of been phased out, so
Just wanna
that is why we
share.
just wanted to remove that and then open up the bill by providing the PSAT is an option there. And since the PSAT is taken by every 8th grade student, it gives more of an opportunity rather than just looking at that top 10%, it's every student.
So how we do students who have learning disabilities in terms of these programs?
So let's go back even for the, let's say I'm an 8th grader for the PSAT. I'm a student with learning disability, the accommodations for my testing have to be addressed first as well. So let's start there. So in order that's necessary to get a clear playing field for everyone. And then if we meet the criteria, it's no different now. Yes, IEPs are being maintained, that communication has happened. The TCL has a liaison who works very close with us. And we have our USCB also works very close with us with students if they have an IEP. It's not a barrier.
And it was important.
We have to meet
All
federal guidelines.
students. That was an important thing for us. Yeah. Absolutely, thank you.
And this is just a formality of an update, right? There's no-
That's all, yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, so there's no action necessary. So Madam Chair, if I could draw our attention to Karen Gilbert our Director for Career Technical Education, as well as joining us is Latasha Middleton, our Director for School Counseling. Ms. Gilbert, and if you may share all the representation for both these initiatives and you go forward to attend the meetings. Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share some exciting news. It's regarding both of our post-secondary partners with USCB and TCL. And ironically, it's occurring simultaneously, so this is good news. We've had opportunities for kids in dual enrollment for a while now. And basically that's just allowing through programmatic options for high school students who are interested in taking college courses to be able to have credits on their high school's transcripts, as well as getting a jump start and advancing their college and university track. And over the years, we've worked it to where they can work toward a certificate on the career and tech ed side, or they can work toward their associate, or they can go on, obviously, and get a jump start at USCB toward their 4-year degree. So along those lines, we wanted to bring forward to you an extended partnership with both of these entities. And so I will start with USCB. So if you have exactly one you have it, thank you, Mrs. Christenberry. So Mr. Dallas will probably ears will perk up on this.
It's not.
Oh, he's not on it. Well, then he'll he's in thought then. As we know, we're not amazed, but here in the Low Country, we have close to a $3 billion industry when it comes to hospitality and tourism. And obviously, in public education, we want to prepare students to meet all types of different college and careers, military, and so on. But obviously, the hospitality industry is a huge part of that. So, and as you know, if you've been on Hilton Head's USCB campus, it is a beautiful facility. It's close to 40,000 square feet, very modern looking, very inviting. And so in efforts to not only look at economic development and impact there, but also to change a little bit of the perception of there is a lot of management opportunities for our graduates to move into their additional training to work and live here in Beaufort County and have a very good management job within those areas, whether it's business or specifically the hospitality industry, as well as they have a new track that they're offering starting next year for sports management. That is a huge industry in itself on how to manage events and so on along with athletics. So what we're proposing in cultivating these future business and hospitality managers, starting next year, we will offer a beginning cohort for rising. It can be sophomores. Again, as Ms. McKenzie said, if they're 16 at time of enrollment, to begin to take courses on the campus of the USCB Hilton Head campus. And what the difference with that is, because we've had Hilton Head students to take USCB courses either online or at the Bluffton campus, they'll be able to also take college transfer courses as well. So if they take a business or sports management or a intro to hospitality, it can be paired with their English 101, their college math. And then as they progress through the 2 years toward that 4-year degree, then they can add their history, their electives such as psychology. So we're excited that the students at Hilton Head will be able to begin that over on that campus and not have to travel. And then also hopefully they'll be picking up some of these other courses that could help them toward a management track. Eventually, the goal is that this would be, we want to pilot it next year, but it would be open to all of our students as an option. We want to kind of work out the kinks a little bit and really offer that. And then you have the eligibility criteria that other than just a few changes that Ms. McKenzie noted would remain the same. Along those lines, if you would, Ms. Cushenberry, before you answer questions, if you'll pull up TCL. We're excited about this as well to extend these opportunities for students starting earlier. So for starting with a rising ninth grade cohort, we are excited to be able to offer a transfer pathway as their major. So they can choose either an Associate of Arts or they can choose Associate of Science, starting as a ninth grader. And they would work through those courses technically full time. Okay. And then hopefully, if they go through the pathway, they'll finish by the end of their sophomore year. And then we would like to encourage them. This is where the career and tech ed comes in. Then we would encourage them to continue as a junior and senior with one of 6 options within some very high wage, high demand fields that they would be able to earn associate in that. So for example, they would be able to earn a minor in the computer technology, either for programming or networking, or definitely in cybersecurity, which is obviously a huge focus for this area. I know, Mr. Smith, you have been to those cyber summits we've had each year. They also can choose for a business administration associate degree if that's the path they want to take, or if they really want to get into the healthcare field, they have an option of 2 associate degrees, one for medical assisting, or if they want to do more of a generic allied health, if they're going on to another four-year university, they could get that along with a small business certificate. So say if they want to go into home health, I'm learning all about that with my mother and some of her needs right now. So I admire anyone who wants to own their own business and if they're moving into the healthcare field. So in essence, when a student, if they go through this program, and they're calling it Rising Tides for Success, they have a new logo and a new mascot called the Tides, TCL Tides. So we thought that was a great title for Rising Tides for Success. So if they go through this, they can actually finish with 2 associate's degrees by the time they graduate. And these courses or programs will transfer on if they want to continue on or go straight to work. So we're excited about that as well. And we all have been meeting regularly with both entities, USCB and TCL, and working out the particulars. But we're going to put this forward for options for our students starting next year. And so we just wanted to bring this to you to make you aware of it. If you have any questions?
Any questions?
Yes, why over in high school? Why there?
Well, just because that's a great question, because the proximity of that campus. Like I said, they've had students right in Middleton taking some USCB courses, most of them online. This way, it'll be an opportunity for them to experience that college campus, on the campus without having to travel. And so we just want to start there because it's the closest. And then again, we'll work out so that it'll be an option for everyone if they want to drive over to that campus.
Are there any questions from my board members who are in Zoom?
No, ma'am, none from me.
Okay.
Also, is there any cost? Is there any cost? What does that look like?
Yeah.
She heard that.
I've heard that. It's actually rather cost effective, taking on this model for both situations. If you do the cost of one credit is $49 at one of our partners, the other credit I believe is $56 at our other partnership. If the students attending full-time outside of the school site and within program at these schools, we have the opportunity that it's zero cost for us. So we're able to put these additional programs in place without incurring any costs at the district. Yeah. We're trying to be as fiscally prudent, but yet developing as possible and giving options to our students without incurring costs of building partnerships that are deeper, if that makes sense.
And so basically, I guess the guidance counselors are gonna be on the enrollment program. What was that gonna look like?
So I'll let,
They will notify the students of the opportunity, but, will be in the.
it's gonna be in our programmatic choice book, yes.
But the school counselor will provide information to students to partake in these opportunities.
It's gonna take a little work to promote, we recognize that. But the opportunity does exist. I see both programs growing rather large. Even looking to have multilingual students at the USCB who qualify for enrollment there. We've done some diligence at work. We have, I believe, 16 out of the 38 who qualify. That right there fills almost a whole cohort for USCB. They weren't going to be happy with 25. Now we haven't reached out to these students yet. We're just doing the backdoor look to say, oh, who's eligible, who's eligible, who's eligible. But we wanted to bring everything to the board first, prior to going public, to be very honest with you. This one I could control to board first before going public. We appreciate you listening now. We'll keep you updated. These programs, I think it's gonna be very, I see them growing and there's gonna be more and more of a demand. And at growth, we see that more students will re-enroll back into Beaufort County as the best choice, right? As the right choice. So with that, Madam Chair, I'm going to an opportunity to have us cross over into our last presentation for today.
Real quick before you.
Yes, sir.
Before you go on, I have a question. In placing these different programs in different schools, in the course of being very school specific or site specific, and what term do you deal with the ACE in terms of any of these programs? That is a part of our district.
That's a great question. Okay, so Dr. Rebecca has done a good job of partnering with TCL to where kids can actually start working toward their certificate or associate in the culinary. And so these students would also have, if they get the qualification, would qualify as well. It just be a matter of they work over days with their particular pathway there, then working into their schedule where either they would take at ACE or they would go over to the Kansas for it. So they'd be eligible as well.
So they would be eligible to do both of them.
Maybe I would say, because the way his is scheduled, they probably would do the high school like one semester. And then if they're looking at some dual enrollment the second semester, which they probably, some of them do that now,
They do.
the way it's scheduled.
Yes, so they're there for a whole semester, so
Yeah,
they'll be at their school for one semester, ACE the next semester. So,
but whereas the culinary, he actually, that's incorporated when they are on campus. So,
yes.
but that's a great question.
Okay. Mrs. Questenberry, if you could take us to our final presentation. And here's a team of people who have been working on this. I'm gonna let the voice of video. I don't know if any of you have gone to our website to listen to the video yet. First, I have to give kudos to Ms. McKinsey. And for those in the audience who are Spanish speakers, if you listen to Vanessa's Spanish, is impeccable. So I do have to give kudos to both of these women at the video development. So we can, oh, look, well, let's start there. Yeah, yeah, we can start here and then we'll go to the presentation. What I'd like to, what you have in front of you right now is what the public can access to when you look at the electronic screen. This is BCSD Connect. Also now the app is called Bang the Table, but it's BCSD Connect. That's the language that we use. And as families, students, teachers, community members, sign in. If you sign in as an employee on your device, you can go right in. It's very easy. If not, it's just as easy to open an account in order to get feedback. This is developed in Spanish and in English. So as I shared with you, we have the video in both languages. All narratives are created in both languages. So this is what you read as you go into the page on BCSD Connect. Those engaging in would go into the presentation. And if you want, I could do that presentation versus the one that we have hard copies. So I just want to make sure that this has, before you click, I just want to make sure that you recognize that we have obtained feedback from educators, family, and community up until this point. Right now, I want to say we're close to 700.
Almost 700, well, that was earlier, they're
Right.
quickly coming in, so it may be over that.
Right.
So it was close to 700.
We were close to 700 on input on BCSD Connect. So if you want, I just wanted to pause for that slide right there. And let's go directly to the video, Mrs. Cushenberry. I appreciate your patience in navigating to me. Thank you.
So click.
Yes, I'm gonna have you click in English. Yes, ma'am. I was tempted.
My line.
Did you share your sound?
No.
No, I have to give kudos. Karen did an excellent job, and she was also interviewed with the news yesterday with WTOC.
Yeah.
That we take into account. We take into account feedback from us.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us to review the Beaufort County School District calendar options for the academic years of 2024, 2025, as well as the 2025-2026 school year. As we develop our academic calendars, there are many considerations that we take into account. We take into account feedback from our educators who work within our schools each day, as well as our families and communities that we serve. We must also take into account state guidelines, including those that refer to instructional days, professional development days, and emergency weather makeup days. Feedback that has been taken into account in the development of these calendars has been a request for a 90-90 semester split, while still maintaining a semester cutoff at winter break in order to accommodate our early graduates. Also, a request for additional breaks throughout the school year for both our students and our teachers. We've also taken into account a request that graduation dates align with teacher professional development workdays. This will allow our teachers to attend graduations of current and former students. There has also been a request that our summer learning opportunities remain in the month of June. This will include both our summer learning opportunities in summer school and our summer camps. We've also had a request to have a modified calendar, but with a later start date. There has also been a request for a start date as per our state legislation, which involves us beginning school on the third Monday of the month of August. South Carolina Code 59-1-425 requires that public schools in the state of South Carolina provide a minimum of 190 days annually, and 180 of those days must be direct instruction for our students. This covers a 9-month calendar period. The opening day for students must not be before the third Monday in August, except for schools who are operating on a year-round modified calendar. 3 days must be set aside for the professional development of our educators, and that should include instructional standards as required by South Carolina Section Code 5918-300. Additional considerations from South Carolina Code 591425 include the fact that professional development must address, at a minimum, academic achievement standards, including strengthening a teacher's knowledge within their content areas, teaching techniques, strategies, and assessment. No more than 2 days can be used in preparation of the opening of schools, and the remaining 5 days may be used for teacher planning, academic plans, and parent conferences. Annually, at least 3 days within the school calendar must be set aside for potential makeup days. Additionally, Code 591425 states that if the school is closed early due to snow or extreme weather conditions or other distractions, the day may count towards the required minimum to the extent allowed by the State Board of Education. In addition, the instructional day for our secondary students must be a minimum of 6 hours a day, excluding lunch. The school day for our elementary students must be a minimum of 6 hours a day, including lunch. Elementary and secondary schools may reduce the length of an instructional day to not less than 3 hours for not more than 3 days in the school year. These are our half days. Just to summarize our calendar requirements from the state of South Carolina, we must have school annually for 190 days for our educators. 180 days must be set aside as instructional. 10 days can be set aside for professional development, 3 of which are planned based on our educational standards. No more than 2 can be used for preparing our classrooms. And the remaining 5 days can be used for teacher planning, academic plans, and parent conferences. 3 days may be allocated, but not less than 3 hours, for staff development, teacher conferences, or for the purpose of administering our end-of-course or end-of-semester examinations. Annually, at least 3 days within the school calendar must be set aside for weather makeup days. As we begin to review our calendar options, please note that we have 5 options for the 2024-2025 academic year. We also have corresponding options developed for the academic calendar year of 2025-2026. You will notice that these calendar options mirror one another. This is done as a way to provide our families and our educators with as much advance notice as possible for planning.
Pause and go to the, I have to go to the presentation so I could walk you through the calendars with board members. Are you good with that, Mrs. Gordon? Ms. Gordon? Yes, thank you. All right, so you also have a hard copy in front of you, but I'll wait as we cross over to the presentation. This way our tempo won't be controlled by the video in the event that you do have any questions. On your hard copy presentation, this actually starts on slide 10. If you note on the far right is the key that many of us are familiar with. Blue is student contact day, red is no student contact. The yellow star is the start of the first and second semester. A triangle indicates a half day. A circle with a cross, the weather makeup day, and a circle on its own on red, and actually is a professional development day. I want you to note also that the weather makeup days will also have a background of red. On option 1, the reason that this is referred to as a modified year-round calendar is that it does not start on the 3rd Monday of the month of August. State legislation doesn't define what a modified year-round calendar looks like. So this would have teachers reporting on July 30th, students on August 6th, at midterm of first semester, you have its teacher workday, and parent conference day on October 10th. A long weekend gives a break to the educators and families if they want to have a long weekend with their children. If you look at the month of November, we have Election Day and Veterans Day are days off. November 25th is a weather makeup day and should that not be utilized, that whole week will then be a week for educators and to be with their families. The month of December, and each one of these options you will note is 15 days, subject to how the month of December falls to 24-25 calendar academic year. January 7th is the start of second semester, which lets you to realize that December 20th is the close of first semester. We've identified in the month of February Professional Development Day. We're continuing with conducting the African American Conference, where we conducted that weekend. We look to the month of March. Once again, similar pattern as in October. You have a half day on March 20th, which allows for parent conferences. It is back with a potential day off should there not be a need for a weather makeup day. Month of April, spring break is aligned with the Heritage Golf Tournament. And in the month of May, half day for the students is the 25th of May. Final day for teachers will be May 29th. Graduations will be 2 conducted per day, starting on the 27th of May. There will be a graduation one north of the board, south of the board, respectively each day. If we go, and I did leave that, I do apologize. That is a 90-90 split, meaning 90 days first semester, 90 days second semester. If we go to option 2.
In terms of the graduation, two times a day, that has not been said that's not hadn't been said that's an option, correct?
In order to maintain that graduations are executed when teachers don't have student contact, that was one of the concessions in design of the calendars. In order to have 2 graduation days, graduations occur on these professional development days. If not, then should the board have the preference, graduations can go into the week prior, but I do want us to recognize the state requires students to be in school for 180 days. I am the steward of that. I want to assure that our calendar aligns 180 days of students in school. So in order to start graduation earlier, I just want us to be recognized that the legislation requires 180 days of students in school.
Right. Well, I'm not concerned about starting graduation earlier.
Okay.
My point is, normally, even now, we have graduation schools over, which is understandable. And I believe that every kid used to having, when you have multiple families that have that when you have multiple families that have several kids that are graduating, or 2 great kids graduating in a day, and now you're pulling and you're making them decide which kid graduation or what that's gonna look like. And that's not been our previous practice in this district. And I don't think that if it's not broken, they don't fix it. I mean, if teachers really want to come to kids' graduation, then they have that option the same way board members, if we really want to go to graduation, then we have that option. But to change and make 2 graduations a day, I think that's a bit much, and that makes families. In fact, I know of a parent who has 2 kids that go to 2 different schools, high schools. So once again, I
So they
think
can share that type of information with myself. I've
Sure.
been trying my hardest to schedule not to be in the same day. There's been very strong communication, and Mrs. Smith, I recognize you brought this up at a board meeting. Educators, their duty day on this option would say is the 29th. Should we continue our graduation into the first week of June, I want us to also recognize that we'll have summer school starting, because that was another one of the concessions. And many of our educators would like the opportunity to be able to do graduation during their contracted service. And they are key at the graduate commencement. I want to call it commencement because actually graduation, we celebrate commencement. That is what we do at graduation. And having that occur during the contracted time does lend for ease of operations for the high schools as well. So I want us to recognize that if there's a family that has, I have a child here and here, I need to know that way in advance, if they can let me know. And if we still have time for next year, but I want to know so that we can design that we don't have both in the same days. So it could work out with things. Is that a possibility? But then I could do the confirmation. I could ensure that that student is graduating and the parents.
Like I said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I just think we should have one
Okay.
extra day.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I reckon one extra day.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. And I could design, I do want to share. If I use May 25th at 7:00, I can put in one more, but then I lose. I was gonna use, like in this one, would have been May 30th as our makeup day, should have been horrible weather. Ms. McKenzie?
Just for clarity,
Yeah.
Dr. Stratus, we weren't thinking of doing them at the same time. We were thinking about one earlier in the day and one
Yes, ma'am,
evening,
scattering it.
trying to scatter them. I don't know if that helps at all, but I was just making sure, because,
Appreciate that. Thank you.
All right.
yes.
Thank you, Ms.
If it helps or
McKenzie.
not. That's fine.
So if we go on to option 2. If we recognize teachers' first reporting day is the 31st, there were 5 professional development days. For the start of this academic calendar, as cited by Ms. McKenzie, when there's a series of 5 professional development days, 2 must be given to educators. We are trying very hard to get that to be the culture of Beaufort County School District, so that you as an administrator, are not scheduling a whole week of meetings. Teachers need time in the classroom to prepare for their students, especially if they're new to our district or new to the profession. On this calendar on August 7th is the first reporting day for students. You'll see in the month of October, you're going to see again, half day happening in order to provide teacher conferences. This calendar gives a little longer weekend. To earn that longer weekend in October, you forfeit in November. If you compare the two, you're going to forfeit the 25th and 26th of November for that potential full week of Thanksgiving. So I want to share that's probably the largest difference in option 1 and 2. With the addition, if we look to the month of February, there is a longer mid-winter break, if I may call it that, because technically it is not spring. March 14th would be a half day. That would be the close of the 3rd quarter. Parent conferences, potential weather makeup day on the 17th of March. 4th quarter would start on the 18th of March. And I do apologize, if you look at the month of April, that yellow star shouldn't have been there for the month of, for the 21st of April. We were trying to reserve those just for semesters. On this calendar option, the 29th of May is the last student contact day. Graduation could start that evening at 7 p.m. If needed, designed to have graduation on the 28th at 7 p.m., where students would be required to return back to school to pick up their diplomas. I can concede to say that that is a day that students attended school. So there's some flexibility that can be designed with graduation. I just want to make note to pick up what Mr. Smith has shared with us. Last teacher contact day will be the 3rd of June. This is option 2. On option 3, Again, you'll see the start date for educators is the 30th of July, students would be August 5th. You're starting to see a pattern happening, trying to give a little break in October. This calendar reverts back for the month of November, trying to pull that whole week for Thanksgiving, so you have less days off in the month of October. Again, as shared with you, December is 15 days. What this calendar has added are 2 professional development days in January. One would be a district PD day, the other one would be a school site PD day. And as shared, all calendars are providing a PD day for African American Conference. The month of March, half day at that intermittent or progress report. And on this calendar, the 28th of May is last student contact day. Last teacher contracted day is the 2nd. Again, as shared earlier, you could start graduation on the 27th of May at 7 p.m. Execute 2 graduations at night, the 27th and the 28th, lending for more flexibility at design. And in the month of June, please note that we will start summer school that first week of June. Option 4. This option came from our SIC, school instructional council. They had posed, instead of starting that first full week of August, what would it look like if we started on the 12th instead? So that was a strong voice as well. So a calendar was developed for that design. Still keeping it a 90-90 split. But I do want you to see the impact that shifted on days off. The month of October now only has a half day. The month of November gives you the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. We still have Veterans Day and Election Day off in November. And again, December is 15 days. So it starts to become a puzzle where you're shifting things and what you give up as you select your options. Here, the month of February gives you a midwinter break. Again, you will have the 3rd quarter end in March. In this case, it would be the 14th of March, where 4th quarter would start on March 19th. Again, this option does give you last student contact on the 29th of May, teacher last contact on the 3rd. The final option for the 24-25 academic school year is an 85-95 split. This is aligned to the language of legislation, hence you don't see on the bottom a modified year-round calendar, because this is aligned to that 3rd Monday in August for starting. Once again, you're going to notice more and more time of student contact. One of the concessions from what the educators had asked for is a few breaks in between is not really able to happen in first semester, as you may have observed in prior options. I want you to note that the goal also is that first semester ends at winter break. Yes, ma'am.
How many graduates are we talking about?
All right. No, that's one number I didn't bring. No, but I could do quick math. Yeah, I could bring, I thank you for that. I will have that. I want to say between 1,100 and 13, Ms. Gordon. I do want to say that, but I can get potential class graduate. Thank you. All right, Ms. McKinsey has made note of that.
Thank you.
You're doing that for the year or
Well, the early graduates. We may not know that yet for next year. I know for this year.
Yes. So what is it for this year?
I want to say, was it 80?
Yeah, it's probably
Yeah,
about
I thought it
100.
was, yeah, I thought it was 85 plus for this year, because I recall the list seeing 84, 85 names. And it hadn't been completed for this year. I thought, I apologize, Ms. Gordon, I thought you.
That's good. I can hear you.
Yes, ma'am. If you look at second semester, I will go directly to the month of June. Last student contact day on option 5 on the 85-95 split takes our students through June 5th. Teachers on the 10th of June. Summer school on this model, subject to what I need to be able to do to conduct training. I will need to have summer school start on June 12th or the 16th of June. And then one advantage that you have with having the PowerPoint in your hands, you can align each option now side by side. And I have to say that. So if you took option 1 from your 24-25, you could put it right next to option 1 of 25-26, and you're going to see a repeated pattern. And then you do the same thing for option 2. So I won't go through it to the same type of conversation, but I just wanted you to see that we were being very specific at keeping a pattern. If we go back to BCSD Connect, our feedback allows the voice to pick any of the options from the consecutive years. You can pick anything from option 1 through 5 for 24-25 school year. Anything from option 1 through 5 for the 25-26 school year. So I want to share that as well. But just if you want to have a deeper look, it's good at times to look at it side by side, just so that you can see the patterns do repeat themselves. Okay. We wanted to bring these forward to you. We have had additional feedback, actually from our one large first teacher group that looked at option 1 and option 3. And if I could just take you back to the 24-25 academic school year, looking at option 1, what suggestion was do not end on a half day. I'm going to probably bring that forward to you as board members, removing that from one of the options, only because if you're doing makeup testing for EOCs, it's very hard again having the contract, it just makes it a little difficult. And we have to meet the 95% tests requirement. So I want to share that. So that probably is going to be the one difference I will do, is that half day may be shifted. So only because for accountability purposes. Are there any other questions at this time, board members?
I don't have a question, but I would like to make a motion, Madam Chair.
Go ahead, please.
I move that the Beaufort County Academic Committee recommend the school year SY 2024-2025 and SY 2025 and 2026 calendar presentation to the full board on Tuesday, February 6, 2024.
Is that the next board meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm not sure. And did we change our policy in terms of how we bring the meeting information forward?
No.
Because I thought that there was a certain amount of time in terms of bringing information from committees to the board agenda.
No. So what she's going to do is she's going to do this presentation at our next meeting. And no, there is no policy saying that we have to wait a certain amount of time to bring things to the board.
So we did within 24 hours or 48 hours. I thought it was the time
No.
spent on that. It was what I recall, but
What you were referring to is that we had a committee meeting on Monday and the board meeting was on Tuesday, we would not have brought the information at the committee that was on Monday. But since we are meeting prior to Thursday and Friday, this is why this can go on that agenda. We could not bring, if you were meeting on Monday, if this committee was meeting Monday prior to the board meeting, we would not have been able to put it on the agenda because the agenda would have already been posted.
I do have some concerns with moving this. Well,
What are the
I do have,
concerns?
because I feel that once we move this forward to the board meeting, and then the board is going to vote on this. But one of my questions was going to be, I know in operations when we were getting ready to change school start time, because that when I'm reading this and looking at modified year round, I'm looking at the word year round and almost like where we're going. I think that when other people see this, I think that maybe the academic committee should possibly take the show on the road and hear from parents from Norfolk Broad and Southwood Broad. I was thinking maybe we should have 2 meetings publicly to see how the community feels about this, because this is a very serious move that we're about to do in the district. And I think that it's very important that we hear from our constituents and see how they feel moving this calendar forward and going from a change from this, because I see what Jasper County has looked at year round, and they've changed back to a regular school calendar. So it brings me some concern. So I think having community input is very important. So that
The board does not have to vote on this on Tuesday night. Dr. Stratos, what is the deadline that we have to have this information in?
By state legislation, our calendar should be brought forward to the state by March 30th.
Okay.
I would suggest, Ms. Militant, and if I may, Madam Chair, if I could add to commentary from Mr. Smith, we're also providing presentations at our 12 extended learning sites. So those presentations actually started yesterday. I have to share them. So subject to trying to take into consideration the concession of not being able to access through the internet. So I do want to share that. So we are out in the community. We have conducted SIC. We had full representation of our SIC meeting at Okatee Elementary. Our SIC is waiting patiently just to get a green thumb to say these were the options. They've already been promoting, sharing the options that we presented so that they've been a voice as well in the community. So we have the concession work to have 13 additional sites north of the Broad in order to have presentation work coming from our team. We have utilized BCSD Connect. That will continue through this week, board members. I want you to know that. So we're at over 700 right now. We're actually doing higher than I think we did with the budget. And we're still going forward till Tuesday. And I don't mean disrespect by any means, I don't. But I just want us to be relative to what the numbers are. So
can I interject, Dr. Stratos, because I was in a meeting last night and the Pritchardville parents and the Blufftonville parents that were there and the representatives, they are aware of all of these calendar options because they were saying there were a lot of options out there. So I think it's important that the board hear these options on Tuesday. Mm-hmm. We're not voting on, the board doesn't have to take a vote unless a vote comes up on anything, but the board needs to see this information. It's already been given to us in committee. Now the board needs to see it. And then the community will continue to see it based on what Dr. Stratos has said.
Mr. Campbell's hands up. Mr. Campbell's hands up.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes. As far as the schools up here, parents are informed about these calendars. They know about it. So through the SIC and PTO meetings. So I think it's a good idea to take it to the board next meeting. Thank you.
And if I could build on a commentary shared already regarding operations and start time, Madam Chair. These calendars have been reviewed by finance for payroll purposes, for construction purposes. So one of the reasons why we're bringing this forward now, because we do need to go, we have a referendum at the table that has been approved by the public. But all options for start dates went to operations in depth through all contractors to look, can you meet these dates? I want to share that. And that was my negligence to not bring that forward earlier, so I do apologize. as well as into HR and finance for line and payroll and how we work system internally as a school district. So I do apologize not making mention to that earlier. That was my neglect. I do apologize, ma'am.
Thank you. Mrs. Smith, will you answer any of your?
Yeah, it does to some of them, but also, just to get back on the first one. I said school start time, I'm talking about in operation, we were talking about changing the actual school times, as in putting the high school first in the morning at 7, and the elementary school back at their normal 9 o'clock time or 8 o'clock, 8:30 time, whatever they normally start. That's why I made reference to it when I said in terms of school start time. We're just gonna go on the road with that. We were going to take that on the
That's
road,
gonna
but
be their
it
country.
was COVID. Right, I got you right.
Leave it at campaign,
Yeah, right.
please.
And that, no problem. And then also, I hear what you're saying in terms of these calendars. I've been asking about these calendars as a board member until now. I didn't have these calendars. As I know people in my community, some of them are still asking. And yesterday I shared a link that another board member apparently she had the calendars and she put it out there on social media. And I shared that link, and I know that link is going out and talking about about the calendars. But in terms of, do I think that everyone has had a chance to look at it and to digest the information and understand it? No, I don't. I'm not only that, but taking it to the board, yes, I do see the importance of it so that everyone can get a good look at it. So I will support this. I'm just trying to be concerned in terms of us how quick we pull the trigger on this. And I know the more quick it is to get the information out to the parents, because I know they do their trips and all that types of good things that they do with their kids. But I just want to make sure that we are understanding the seriousness of changing this and moving forward that is going on, and that we're giving everyone a chance to understand and digest this information. Because I know that for my community, SICs are good, but they don't represent the whole community as a whole. Because I got parents who never heard of SIC. You see, said SIC, they actually, what is that? Stop the community violence. So they actually what that is. So therefore, I'm just saying that though they're good to have, but those are normally the parents who are up and talking to the principals and talking to the parents. So those are the parents who are in the knowns. It's the parents who are in the don't knows who I'm concerned about here. So yes, to make a long story short, I will move this forward, but I just want to put all that FYI there as well. Thank you.
Madam Chair, would I have your approval if I can maybe share this also with board members if they want to use them as talking points? We've put together some quick summary that may also be of assistance. It has each consecutive year after the first page, and it's 24, 25, next is 25, 26. I would ask you to put it on to board docs as well, since I am sharing with you at this time.
Thank you. Getting back to, it was moved and seconded.
Yes, ma'am.
And
Yes,
second,
ma'am, sure.
that we bring this to the board,
Thank you, ma'am.
information.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'll pass this around to Mr. Smith, and you can't see it,
If
but.
you give it to me, then I can put it in board docs, so all the
Okay.
board members will
Thank
have
you.
it.
All right,
So,
Thank you.
thank you.
We're gonna take a vote.
yes, we need to take a vote.
That was an internal for us, but I think
So what are we voting?
For it, moving it to the board on Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
so it's all in favor to take the proposed calendars to the board?
Aye.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Agreed upon, great presentation. Yes.
Future topics. And schedule the next meeting.
So, any future topics?
Yes, actually, one of our future topics to deal with Mrs. Beaufort in terms of just thinking about today. I would like to understand what's the process, because in terms of does she deal with ACE, because the ACE align with what we're doing, and how do we choose, how do we choose what's going in what building? Because I think that there's definitely some that could be done with AC, just understanding the process and how we pick where our programs are going. I don't have no problems with how you picked it. I think you did an awesome job. I just want to understand, get a clear understanding of how we do that, what that looks like.
Would you like to let maybe join?
That's fine, but I think it's more about how we getting our best utilization from your position to how you're picking which one, and basically this school is reach out. Let me say that this school is one that's in at ACE. We don't touch these programs because ACE has them based upon So I'm trying to that's those are the So not necessarily Dr. Becker, more where you're moving.
Right. Yeah.
Thank you.
That's great.
We have, there potentially will be additional textbook adoptions. There is an adoption for handwriting. There may be for CTE, am I correct?
Chemistry,
And chemistry.
and world history.
Any more questions? Any more suggestions for future topics?
No, ma'am.
Or is there a couple of ones?
No, I was
Well,
able to
yeah, we'll
resolve.
have those later.
Yes, ma'am, that was all resolved, thank you. I think you need to select a date, and possibly the 28th of February. So we could have anything then go to the board on March 5th. See if that's available here.
Are you all gonna continue to keep fourth Wednesday at 5 o'clock?
Does
What
fourth
day?
one still work for everyone? 5 o'clock?
What date?
February 28th.
February 28th,
Yes, ma'am.
5 o'clock.
Yes, ma'am.
5 o'clock still work for you all?
Yeah.
That's it. Is it work for you?
I don't know. Yeah, I can go there as well. So.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome. Hey, last call. Any more suggestions?
I was going to say, in terms of the PowerPoint presentation, I forgot to say I wanted to thank Dr. Scrouge and her team and Mrs. I in my mind and my excuse me, don't put it on my heart, put it on my mind today. In terms of name, you not know me for definitely from your name, but I want to thank y'all because at the last board meeting, if you all recall, there was a board member who asked about things being interpreted in terms of Spanish, and I see that y'all already ahead of the curve, and y'all are making sure the districts live up to the expectation, and y'all are doing that. So it was very transparent. I want to tell y'all, I appreciate y'all. Don't have to ask for that we were already moving and actively having that done. I appreciate that.
Thank you. All students.
They're awesome. All right, can we move to adjourn?
So move.
Yes, ma'am. I second.
Hey, I thank you. I thank you, Mr. Campbell. Thank you.
Thank you.